This episode is brought to you by Dreamy, and I'm currently using their Ultra Robot Vacuum. So it really saves my times in terms of cleaning, where not only it vacuums, it also washes, it also mops, it also empties, it also hot dry itself. It's so efficient. So thank you very much. Do check out the link down below. What's up guys, this is Jalan, and today we're going to check out Expressionz Professional Suites in Titiwangsa, Kuala Lumpur. Let's go! Well, technically this is Jalan Tun Razak, as we are really within the CBD of Kuala Lumpur. This is the main entrance coming into the site. A rather narrow one, that's why you can see the congestion is happening. And right in front of the site, there will be an open car park that is serving the office building. So it's a good and bad thing depending on the function of the building. Yes, this is sold as a home kind of thing, but when you come to professional suites, right, I'm not surprised that this is a commercial project that sits on a commercial piece of land. I'm not too sure, but I'm not surprised because based on the location, I guess this is going to be pretty much an Airbnb or a short-term stay operational unit. In that sense, the neighboring lots of commercial units becomes very sensible because now you can have ATMs, you can have cafes, because in a normal residential project you can't. Branching in from the main road, you gotta go in the side this way, so the entrance going in the car park is via that way. There will be the front drop off to the lobby itself. And in terms of architecture, this looks really cool, including the very structural oriented drop-offs. I love it. And by hanging out around the lobby itself, you can see a lot of people with their luggage bag waiting for the keys or whatsoever. So here we kind of touch a little bit about the purpose of the building first. When a management is ready and it's designed for short-term stays, right, there will be an office on the ground floor unit that is dedicated for the homestay operator to manage their keys. It's like a receptionist. Like, for example, like when you come in at 2 AM in the morning, you can actually head straight there because you could not really rely on the building reception itself. It wouldn't be fair because you're using every resident's resources to do so, right? Then within walking distance, you can actually access to the lake itself. That's pretty nice. Bonus point, I don't think you really need. The shortcoming here will then be the distance to the nearest MRT station, but it's really close to KLCC. So if you are going to use this as a long-term stay, then the entire environment is not that conducive. Just for example, if you are traveling every day to the building, it's very easy to come in from the right direction in, but if you come from the opposite direction, you need to make a big U-turn right after HKL. Yeah, just think about it, also tired. Something to take note also. Another thing to point out, there's a future development here, and this is a very nice spot actually. If you look into the drone shots, right, on one side we have the lake, we have all the greeneries, all the government quarters that are really low in building height. On the other side, we have the entire skyline of KLCC, KL Tower, PMB 118, TRX. It's really cool, and the rooftop facilities actually faces that. Nice. So coming down through the ramp, there's a checkpoint. So this is for visitors, for people to drop things or whatsoever. There will be another one if you want to go to B2. So B2 is the one where it's dedicated for residents. But something to take note, right? It's very dark. The entire car park is very dark. But looking at it from the drone shots, again, this is a very tall building. And I think the density is around 1,000 units for 2 blocks within a very small plot of land. Because of that, you will have column size that takes up a whole car park lot, and you have multiple of them. So within the car park itself, this will be the direct access right up to the lobby itself. Or you can just straight away take your dedicated lift from Tower A or Tower B on the other side straight away to your residence. Coming up to the floor plate, there's only 8 units in total, and that's very nice in today's context. decks. It's split between 2 wings, so it's technically like 4 units per wing only. And I like the slit here, so it adds facade line to the units here, so that's nice. And this is like a small little bungalow. Coming out from the lift lobby, we will constantly hear a lot of sirens from ambulance, because I used to call this stretch of street the Jalan Hospital, because there's like 3 main hospitals. Within this little stretch itself, we have the Hospital Kuala Lumpur HKL, we have the IJN, the Institute Jantung something National, I think. Also, we have KBJ right next door. That's why you just think about the density and the probability of ambulance passing through this stretch, right? But anyway, I'm liking the size of the lift lobby, also the opening. So this is 2.53 in width and 2.6 in height. So it's very nice. Plus you look at the tiles textures. I personally like the LED lightings, and this is one of the main strengths of this particular developer. Their dressing for common areas are always very tastefully done. Compared to a normal downlight whatever, this is so cool. That's why this actually suits the current purpose of the building, which is mainly short-term stay. At the end of the corridor, we have this humongous window. Check out this view. We are in Titiwangsa, so that will be Titiwangsa Lake. And just when you thought you are within the CBD center of KL, we still have views like this, which is amazing. Then coming out into the main corridor, there will be 2 sides, right? So the one going to the longer side, there will be this stretch of openings at the side. That's nice. The width is 1.8 meters and the height is 2.6 meters, which is very comfortable. Then coming out right at the corner, this will be the service lift, and if not mistaken, yeah, so the refuse room is actually located in the same compound with the service lift, and this will be the refuse room. So tiles, open ventilation, very clean, nice. However, the entire corridor feels very dark. But that depends on the intent. If this is for an own stay where I'm going to bring my kid, I'm going to raise a family here, then I think it's only appropriate that the whole environment is bright and sunny. But if you are here for a short-term stay, maybe just for a weekend to experience KL living, or you're here to accompany your old folks in getting treatments in hospitals around this area, then I also think that it's okay. So it depends. But if you look into the lobby just now, the entire usage of the building is really for commercial purposes, which means it's really short-term stay. And currently within the trend of buildings in Malaysia, the decision of short-term stay, whether can it be run within the building itself, must be determined right at the development stage. And this will be the unit that we're going to check out today, and you see there are actually 2 doorbells, so that indicates that this unit is actually a dual key unit. So that's very nice, and you have a short foyer here before the door itself. So the width of the foyer is 1.3 and the width of the door is 1.09. That's like 100 mm larger than usual. Very good. So coming right into the unit, there will be 2 doors. And this layout type is very interesting, because from the get-go, I know this is for investment purposes. Like, I get to split the unit into 2 to rent out to 2 persons at once, or I stay in 1, rent out 1, or I can just rent both out as temporary stays. Another more interesting perspective is I use 1 loan to buy 2 units. Well, 2 doors. So let's check this one on the right first. Straight away, you will have a kitchen here, then you have the washing machine, then this will be the bathroom, and this will be the unit. Very straightforward. So before we proceed further, this is the layout that I got online, and this is type D1 actually. And the unit size is around 643 square feet. So numbers wise, it looks really small. So coming in from the main door, we have 2 doors just now, one on the left, one on the right. Both are identical, as this is split right in the center. So you have 2 toilets, and then you will somewhat have a hotel unit within the layout itself. Pretty straightforward. This is also a classic example where we can see a fully furnished unit feels way bigger than an empty unit, way bigger than on plans. Because once you fit in all your furnitures, right, actually not there. And just because the kitchen and toilet is placed at the front, right, there will be a drop in ceiling to cater for the services. So that is around 2.4 meters, but the ceiling on the bedside will be 2.95. Very nice. And here you can perfectly fit in a cabinet, you can fit in your queen size bed, even have a study table at the side and still have space. If you want to put a yoga mat, still can. Very, very spacious actually. However, units like this really suffered a lot during the pandemic because as their main income resource or the main target audience has always been visitors and tourists and whatsoever, right? So for that year, there were a lot of units for auction. And back then during launch, I think in 2014 or 2015, the launch price was 900,000 for a unit like this. Again, online sources. But now if you look into property platforms, it's still the same. It's still 800 over 1,000, 900,000 for the exact unit like this. So in terms of capital appreciation, it didn't went up a lot, but I doubt there won't be any discounts. So during launch, they will still have packages like early bird discount lah, 10% discount lah, 5% extra if you sign early S&P lah or whatsoever lah. But the rental rate for this unit is actually taken up. So we rush this shoot right before we hand over to the brand new tenants. This is rented for 4,500 a month. Well, 4,500 for 2 units lah. But still, wow. One of the reasons why the unit feels big is because of the full height glazing. So whatever facade that they have, they absolutely maximize it, which is a very good strategy. So this is where you can see the hospital street. So you have IGN right opposite, then you will have HKL at the end. So that will be the Performing Arts Center. On the other side, then that will be KLCC. And I see there's a brand new MRT stop there, right? So it's a new, so this will be the stretch that we need to walk later to go and find out. But the surrounding, there's still a lot of green, which is very nice. Then for furnitures, you will have laminated flooring, you will have timber skirtings, and I think the kitchen cabinets came with the project itself. And this will be the ensuite bathroom. This is a full glazing. Basically, it won't be as dark within the bathroom itself, and in order to save space, they use a sliding door. That's very nice. Going in, you will have Toto basin and Toto WC, full height wall tiles. And because this is located within the inner part of the unit, they use a mechanical ventilation system, this shower screen, and there's a sunken area for shower. So we need to actually go down steps before we shower. So looking at specifications, this is quite luxurious, where you have the stone finishes, you will have the aluminium trimmings. It feels very nice. Then you have this sexy bath kind of thing going on. Ooh. Then moving over next door, this will be the exact same layout, and these are all the switches. So we have all the switches here. And the owner actually run this as a short-term stay. Initially, I think they kind of switch it up. And that's the indirect benefit of a fully furnished unit also. So when you dress it up this well, right? When the demand for short-term stay is very high, then if the building management allows for operations of such, go ahead, right? Maximize all the rental and profit that you will get. But when you kind of get sick and tired of the operations, you want to take a break, you can always rent this out as a long-term stay kind of thing. So by fully furnishing a unit, it gives you that flexibility in your target audience. Anyway, the layout is pretty similar. We just have everything in mirror. And by the way, this unit is actually furnished by the makeover guy. So the designer find it a bit fun to dress one in light tone and one in darker tone to give that sophistication feel. Personally, I still enjoy the glazing a lot. So that really changes the entire spatial quality of the unit. The view too. Well, I guess that's all for the unit. It's a pretty straightforward unit, but it's a very interesting one because I also got one very similar in other locations but not this one. Anyway, let's go check out the facilities deck. So now we are in the facilities deck at level 8. There's one rooftop one also, they close it, but there's a dipping pool or a small swimming pool if not mistaken. Also on level 8 they closed the pool. I don't know for what reasons, maybe the maintenance got out of hands or whatsoever, I am not sure. So that's the operational difference when this building is run as a short-term stay versus a home for residential purposes. Because now you have all these open areas like barbecue pits lah, tadika lah, library lah, whatsoever, right? All I see compliant elements imposed by the developers. But when it comes to actual operations of the project, it's empty one. So technically you have a wading pool here for kids and you have the mother of pearl kind of textures, that's nice. Then you have the lap pool there overlooking to the open area of the lake of Titiwangsa. And you have a children's playground there. So the facilities deck is not as big in terms of area. I think that's why the facilities are divided into 2 floors. One on the rooftop, one at level 8. Also on the same comment just now, there are a lot of dark areas within the unit, but the function is pretty obvious. You see there's a maintenance cut going around. I guess that's all for the unit. Let's walk around the project. So coming out from the building, if you are here for short-term stay, right, this will be the only way out walking towards Jalan Tun Razak itself. Then you will pass by the National Library, but I doubt you will stay here just for the library. And immediately you will come to this very busy road. But this is really close to KLCC just by taking a right into Raja Chulan, then you are straight away to KLCC already. Sometimes when you think that, do you really need MRT when you are just a Grab drive away? Fine, okay? But just that when you need food during the night, then it's not as convenient lah. As we mentioned just now, if you are coming from this direction, then it's very convenient. But if you want to come in from the opposite direction, right, then it's going to be very troublesome. A U-turn like that is going to take around 15 minutes easily. But anyway, that's IJN and that's KPJ in the front. So coming out from the project right there, right opposite the street, which is a 5 minutes walking distance away, there will be the Raja Uda MRT station. So I guess this is the nearest station, then the Titiwangsa one. But you need to go through this very busy street. Yeah, very busy. So right after the U-turn, which exactly take like 10 minutes time because of the congestion of Jalan Tun Razak itself. This is the intersection between Jalan Tun Razak as well as Jalan Pahang and Jalan Genting Klang. We can almost expect the congestion to happen. Also, we are now standing in between IJN and HKL itself. But what is good that I see within this street is the introduction of MRT within this location. So you have the brand new Hospital KL station as well as the Raja Uda station that is very close to the project itself. That's really nice. And one side that a lot of people don't see within this address itself, although they call this project off Jalan Tun Razak, right? Actually it's still within this Titiwangsa address, and it's a very residential address, which means that you have a lot of schools, you have a lot of clinic kesihatan, you have a lot of government quarters right behind this main street, which a lot of people don't see because a lot of people just see the main hospital, the hospital Puswari as well, KPJ as well, KLCC and all this concrete jungle, right? But right on the other side, it's all very low dense. And I guess that's all for the site. It's now time for Sean's Take 3 on 3. The first thing I really like will be the location and setting of the project. So when we talk about location, this is really off Jalan Tun Razak. Actually, it's Jalan Bernama, just because it's next to Bernama's building lah. But usually I call this the hospital street or the hospital segment of Jalan Tun Razak just because you have a lot of hospitals here. The IJN is here, the HKL is here, KPJ is here, Hospital Puswari is also here. And now it's in between 2 MRT stations, which is the Raja Uda station and the Hospital KL station. Just that other station within walking distance, I think Raja Uda one is still okay, but the other one which a little bit too far lah. And just when you thought within the CBD itself, it's going to be so congested and packed with buildings, right? right? Not really. Like now, if you look into the building, it's this standalone high-rise. It's taller than an office building, which is in commercial title, which is weird. Again, this building itself is adjacent to the Titiwangsa Park, which is very, very nice, and you actually get to enjoy direct access into it. So on one side of the building, you actually get the Titiwangsa view itself, which I think is going to be very, very nice. And by looking beyond the surface of the address, the back portion of Jalan Tun Razak is actually a very residential oriented address. You actually have school, like we are actually right now next to the school. You have clinic kesihatan, you have a lot of government quarters, then you have a residential portion of Titiwangsa itself, you have the park and lake. Actually, we kind of think of it, is living here okay? I think so too. So in this location, you get to enjoy the lake, greeneries, the very low density side of KL, yet being a street away from KLCC. And that leads to point number 2, which is the potential outcome of the project. So now this one you can actually run it as a commercial building or a residential building. So if you buy this to raise a family, can or not? If you actually take the big unit, I think it's okay because you are actually very close to a lot of main schools. There's an inner road to things. But at the current state of the building right now, due to the higher potential returns of running the building as a short-term stay kind of thing, almost the entire lobby is filled with tourists. So if you look at this kind of scenario as a family, I wouldn't want to raise my children with strangers around all the time. But if I look at the strangers all the time, then I think about the potential rental that they're going to pay me. That is going to be really, really cool. So within this episode itself, we really learned that a building needs to be designed cleverly if it has the potential of short-term stay, if it has the potential of residential as well. So it's kind of flexible and it allows the building management to decide whether which one to go into. Because just imagine if the building management suddenly like, oh, no more short-term stay, right? And that also applies to the building layout. Like the one that we visited is a dual key split in the center, so you have kind of hotel suites going on. Benefit of that is you use one loan to get 2 units. That's very cool. And the unit itself actually fetch a very high rental rate. But if you're running at a short-term stay, it's going to be higher. And that's point number 3. The overall building design actually is flexible. And why do I say that? Like a lot of brand new buildings within residential areas, right? Like they want to also allow some sort of short-term stay. However, the design does not allow. For example, the lift lobby, check-in, check-outs, the security portion of things, a reception counter or a potential space next to the reception counter to be rented out to operators. All those are not as conducive, but in these Expressionz professional suites, all those are kind of thought through. Also, you look into the facilities that because of the building plane is so small, the size of the plot of land is just too small, right? They divide it into 2 stories and they cleverly orientate the infinity pool over to the skyline of KLCC. So that's very, very smart. But not too sure why, because of the operations or whatsoever, right? We don't get to visit thoroughly on the facilities deck, but it's pretty standard. Again, that portion of things will be affected by the building management again. Let's say if it's really for short-term stay, right? Barbecue pit area, the common dining areas, the reading corners, right? All wouldn't apply anymore because people are going to treat it like a hotel. It will also increase the maintenance fees of things, which is going to be shared by all parties within the building itself. So when all parties agree, then only this building can be run as a short-term stay commercial building. Therefore, the things that I don't like, number 1 will be the access, which is right after the bridge. It's going to be so difficult to turn in and out. Plus, within that stretch of road itself, you have the National Library. I don't think there will be a lot of traffic there. But then you have office buildings and the empty area next to the river or water pathway or longgang. I don't know how you want to call it, but it's all used up as car parks. So every time you come in and out, although the road is sizable, it will be parked and parked. So the entire experience in and out, right, not very nice. And that applies also to the entrance of the building. You need to drive right into the building, straight into the basement car park first, but that's due to the limitation of the size of the building lah. On the second point, I'm not too sure why it's happening again. But the second point will be the risk of such buildings being run or being allowed to do Airbnb commercial operations. Because all this is just one meeting away with the JMB or the MC of the building. So suddenly when you have established all these operations, you have established all the infrastructure and they just say no. Last of all will be the empty plots of land next to the building. Like we all know the potential, the risk of empty lands now. Within this prime area of KL itself, I think easily there's going to be another high rise, right? But I think it's not happening just yet. I think there's already a proposed building next to it, but I'm not too sure on the function of it. And just imagine it's going to be another high rise with a lot of people in the building. That road, right, is going to be further congested. Yeah. So I think that's all for this episode. We learned a lot of things. We discussed about the function of the building before launch and during operations. There's a big gap to it actually, so this is clearly demonstrating that. Then we also learned about fully furnishing your unit in having different intent. It allows it to be short-term stay also can, long-term stay also can, own self-stay also can. Also, we have checked out CBD, very rare we get to check CBD projects, and the brand new Raja Uda and HKL station for MRTs. Very good, and I guess that's all for this episode. And if you really like this episode, like it, share it, and even subscribe for more information like this. I'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao!